Hi Tesla fans, it's Ellie and Oliver, and today we have another episode of DIY, and today we're going to be installing the Dynamat pre-cut noise canceling kit for the Tesla Model 3. Who is Dynamat? Well, they're an amazing company that's been around for many, many years, creating sound deadening material for the automotive restoration business, for the 12-volt automotive industry to make your car sound system sound better, the marine industry, and even the industrial sector. But today we're going to focus on what they made specially for your Model 3. They have a pre-cut kit that's going to help reduce rattles, road noise, make your sound system sound even better, and it's extremely effective. And today Oliver's going to show us exactly how you can install it yourself. So what we're going to do first is we're going to open up the front door and rear door kit. That's actually this box right here. It comes packaged all together, and we're going to open this up and let's see what's inside to go ahead and take the doors, get the doors taken care of. And then after that, we'll move on to the trunk kit and the rear hatch kit. So one step at a time. Oliver, let's open this up. Let's see what's inside. There are some tools that you're going to need to go ahead and do this installation. As you can see, Oliver has started off with some sort of a utility knife or a blade. Something simple just to open up these packages. As you can see, we also have over here the Dynamat roller tool. We have some special tools here that can help pop panels open. Oliver, what's this?
It's a Torx 30 screwdriver to take the doors off.
Okay, so we're going to be taking the doors off, so we need a Torx 30 screwdriver, another pry tool, and a set of sockets. Oh, look at that. All right, I think let's take it all out. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there we go.
So it looks like each door comes individually. So you'll have front door, front passenger, let's say, front driver, and then the two rear doors on their separate sheets as well.
Okay, so these are the rears, these are the fronts.
Yeah.
Okay. What's that paper say? Let's see what's inside the envelope.
So in here, you've got your instructions on how to put it on and which way and where the pieces go.
With a nice diagram.
With a nice diagram.
Okay.
So you've got your doors, and then it tells you a couple of little pieces here. With Dynamat, when you go to apply it, you might see certain pieces around here, this butyl and stuff. If you don't want to get it over your hands, I suggest wearing some gloves. And wear some jeans or something that you don't mind if they get some of this butyl on, because once it gets in the fibers of your clothes, it's extremely hard to get it out.
So this butyl that you're referring to, this is like some sort of extra sticky adhesive.
Yeah,
I see it.
It's on the
almost like a tar, but it's not actually. Okay. This makes the installation really easy, and that's why you only need this Dynamat rolling tool to actually apply it on the dedicated recommended surface areas. Okay, so Oliver's going to go ahead and take off the front door panel, the passenger door, rear door panel, and the necessary trunk areas to expose and show you exactly the areas that we're going to apply the Dynamat that's recommended by them. And I actually want to say a couple things first about that. So Dynamat has done an extensive amount of research, road test, to identify on the Model 3 where this noise is coming from and how we can go ahead and reduce it. So unlike what you all might be thinking, that we're going to cover the complete inner door skin and trunk areas with Dynamat, that is absolutely not the case. They have really made it easy for us, and we're going to address specific areas. Now, front doors first. When we go to the rear doors, that's a little tricky, and it's maybe not for everybody. So we're going to recommend there's going to be an optional advanced DIY section to apply the Dynamat material on the inner part of the door, which does require removing the glass and this strip right here. And we will show you how to do it. It's not mandatory, it is optional, may not be for everybody, but we're gonna try to do that too. And then we're gonna move into the trunk. So Oliver, let's get going.
Okay, so now we're inside the car and we're gonna start taking this front door off. There's a couple of things you need to pay attention about when you're taking the door off. To take it off, you have 3 Torx screws, one up in the handle up here behind a plastic panel. You have one down here and one behind the reflector on the back end of the door over here. Once you take the door off, and you remove all the cabling, you'll notice that the window will pop up. Once the window pops up, don't shut the door, because the window will hit the car frame and you'll end up marking your trim. So let's start by taking the door off, and we'll get to some of the hazards in a minute. So for this, we're going to start off with the Torx 30, so a TX 30, and you take out the bolts like this. There's the one under here, you can get your fingernail underneath it and pull the plastic trim off, and then get your screwdriver in. I always suggest using just hand tools. If you use impacts and stuff for this sort of stuff, it's possible that you can over torque it, and if you over torque the one up here, the switch to allow you to get in and out the car, it will always think it's open, so the door won't close correctly. On the back, on this one, you get like a pry tool, a plastic pry tool or something like that, and just go in at the side of the reflector and just pop it out. On the back, they're labeled up and down, so when you put it back together, you can't put it back in wrong. So once you've got all 3 screws out, now you've got to pry the actual plastic door in and set it off. Use the same pry tool as you had before. I always tend to just go down in the bottom corner. I don't know why, but that's just where I get it from. So you can pull on the door panel just a hair and it will release a tiny piece on the back side, and then get your fingers in. Your fingers, again, are your friends. Once you hear the pop, don't be afraid about it, and just keep on working yourself around. Once you can feel the whole door moves like this, you can lift the whole thing up. Okay? It is also very important to leave the window up. If you send the window down, we won't be able to put certain parts of the Dynamat in, because we're going to remove the door switches, the window switches, so you won't be able to send the window up and down. So make sure the window is up. First of all, grab this, and the clip just comes out. They just separate like this. Put this off to one side. Then on the inside of the door, you have this white sound deadening. This is all Tesla gives you. Remove the emergency door handle release by lifting up, twisting, and popping it out. Then you can pull this white cover all the way back up, and you'll see the cable come down from the Tesla and throughout the whole door here. So what you want to do is, you want to start by disconnecting some of these plugs. The same way as you did for the tweeter pod at the top. Just push and hold them together. Work your way around like this. You can get a pry tool and pop it up here, or you can just pop them up, whichever way you want to play it. And the same with this one up here. Then this is your last clip down here, the one for the ambient door lighting that goes on the floor. Once you undo this, the car will think the door's closed and the window will pop up. Once that window goes up, like I said earlier, don't shut the door. Okay, so now we're faced with the door without any door card on it and everything like that. To install the kit, there is a couple of pieces, like I said, that goes behind this piece. It is a little bit more involved to take apart than just the normal door card, and some people just put the pieces on here, and that's fine. If you want to go to the next step up, you can take this out. Be careful, you have the window regulator motor here. We're going to take the speaker out, this little sensor, and all of these clips here. There is going to be some renditions to the tools that we showed you earlier on, because of the clips and stuff, to make it easy for you to take it out, like a little pry bar and stuff like that. And so yeah, let's get at it. So because there's a lot of bolts in and around this area, a lot of 8mm, just to save some time, we're going to zip these out with an impact. Taking them out's okay, sending them in is a little bit of a different story. So it's an 8mm on an impact now. And then the 4 around the speakers. Once you've got the majority of the bolts out, let's start disconnecting some stuff. Unplug the speaker. You've got little tabs in the corner to hold the speaker into the plastic thing. Just pry one of them down just a hair, and you'll find that the speaker will pop itself out. put it off again to one side. You've got these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts around the window motor. I would suggest that we remove those just so the window motor can get pushed back when you pull this black plastic out here. Again, 8 mils. And then for all of these clips here, you can do it like I did with the door and pull on it like this, or you can get like a little pry bar and go in and pop them out, whichever way you want to play it. They seem to be coming out pretty straightforward. Okay, once we got to this stage, we'll double check to make sure we didn't leave any bolts left in. Then you've got to unplug some more electronics to get the black plastic piece out. So you've got to unplug this here, the camera sensors for the door. And then pop this piece off up here. Okay, so now we're all loose. In fact, we're going to unplug this as well. To unplug the window motor, there's one little retaining clip at the bottom. If you just push it up, it will slide back out this way. And this sensor up here, there's a grey clip, so you just pull it down, push it in, and pull it away from itself, and it should come off. You do have this one clip here. So this one here, you're going to have to go in from behind and you basically pry on the plastic, and you push it back on itself, you see? That will release the window motor from this big plastic trim panel, which should come out. So now that we've removed the cabling and the plastic cover, again, set this to one side. And now we're going to look at the Dynamat to see which pieces go where. Now, if we refer back to the instructions that we had earlier, you can see the panels and exactly where they go on the door. So one of the pieces of Dynamat is actually going to go on the piece of plastic we just removed from here. And then all the other pieces are going to go on the door themselves. So to put the Dynamat on, you peel it off, put it in the location, and what's cool about this kit is you have all the holes. So all these holes, these little tiny holes, are roughly where these plastic clips, which I pulled off the plastic panel, will go. So you can line it up with the holes in the panel. So for this, I get my little roller and we're going to start sticking some pieces on. So let's start with the big piece C, the big one at the top, this one. So to do this, I'm going to peel it off the back here, being careful not to rip it when you pull it. If it sticks together, don't worry, as long as you don't put any pressure on it, you can pull it apart. So once you peel it off here, you'll have something like this. And like I said earlier on, you have these holes that you can line up with the access holes for the Tesla here. As long as you don't put too much pressure on it, you can peel it back off the panel, you see, and line it up one more time. I tend to like to put it roughly where it's meant to sit with my hands first before I go ahead and get the roller on, because once you put the pressure on with the roller, there's no getting it off. So once you've got it on, then you take your roller, start from the middle and roll it on. What this is doing, it's getting the air out from between the butyl back Dynamat and the door panel themselves. It's taking the air out, so it's making it tight seal. You can also get in there with your fingers and give it a little push around. So once you've got this one big piece on the top and you've pushed it in, got all the air out, we're gonna move on to another piece. So let's do A, which is the one actually inside the door. It's a big triangle piece that goes in behind the window motor. This is gonna be a little bit more awkward because you've got to get your hand in behind all of this stuff. Be careful, there is some sharp pieces on the inside, so try not to cut yourself. So this is A, this big triangle right here. Now it's going to go like this, but obviously on the inside. So what you've got to do is you've got to kind of feed it around itself. You are going to get grease on yourself. There's no chance you're not. So drop this in here. And like I said before, try and just set it with your hands a little bit first before you get the roller. Now, with the outside of the door, you can use the roller. Personally, I don't, because with a wooden roller or a rubber roller, it has sharp sides, and this is the outside of the car. So this panel here is in theory your painted panel on the outside. If you roller on this, you're gonna leave lines on your metalwork on the outside of the car. So I suggest just use your hand and just get it down the best you can. Like I said, you can go over the roller lightly, that's your choice, but I wouldn't myself. As long as you get it flat and get most of the air out, you should be fine. Okay, so now the next piece, we're going to take the piece for the B, the one that goes behind the speaker. This piece right here. This goes in through the speaker hole and behind. It sits this way up. Try and get it as most behind the speaker, like as direct behind the speaker as you can. If you're an inch out either side, don't lose sleep over it, you should still be fine. Now we're gonna go with D, which is not this one, but this one. And again, these holes here are the ones that go around the actual speaker themselves. So these screw holes are the ones that hold the speaker in, as you see here. Now, because this isn't on the outside, we can So once that piece is on, we've got the last piece of the front door, which is the one that goes on the plastic panel that we took off earlier on. I would say this is probably the most important one because the plastic is where you hear the resonance, the rattle, the... If you push it down, don't worry about it if the Dynamat splits like this, because this is where the channel where the cable comes in. You're still fine. It's still, all the butyl is still there. And with this, don't worry too much. You've got this honeycomb effect. You can see these hexagons here. and you're gonna have air behind it. You're not gonna get all the air out. It's impossible. So once you have it like this can then go back on the door, and assembly is the same as the disassembly, just in reverse. So here we go. Make sure you put it back on in the same order you took it off. And the cables obviously come back through here. Make sure they come back out of this tray here, and this is your clip. When you go to push the clip back here that we had, you have a handy lever here that you can pull on. Also, you could just push it in from the back to start with. You might have to move a little bit of the Dynamat out of the way to get the clips in position, but so there we go. There they are, roughly lined up, so let's get a couple in. I always suggest you do a couple by hand first, just to get them all in position. Otherwise, if you tighten the one down first, I guarantee that these two down here aren't going to fit right for you. Let's drop the speaker back in too. Once you have them all tightened down roughly to fully tight, then get your hand tools out and just tweak them a little bit more with the, otherwise you'll end up stripping them with the impact. Right, now your door's fully Dynamated, we've got to put all the cabling back. So the handy thing, like I said with this kit, all of the plug holes are exposed. And once you put them all in, it kind of sits roughly where it should sit. So everything will with this last one, when you push this one in, make sure you push the grey clip back, otherwise it won't recognise it's been plugged in. Now that everything's back together and you have all the bolts back in, all your clips, all your plugs are plugged back together, and you double check that they're all back in and fastened securely, now we just put the door back on with the 3 same bolts and call it a day. So to do the rear door, the inside panel is almost identical. You have your 2 bolts, one underneath the door handle again, and one just below where the window switch is. You don't have the one on the outside. So once we remove those, we can pull the door panel off the same way. But because with the rear door, it's a little different with how we're gonna put the Dynamat on the inside of the door, we got to take the window out. And to take the window out, you take the belt molding off. And the way that I take the belt molding off, you don't pull straight up like this, because if you do, it'll end up like this boomerang and you'll never be able to get this piece back on. So what I tend to do is I start at this side and I roll it towards myself like this, and you'll feel it start to go, and then you can work your way all the way down. Okay, and then you have very minimal bendage. If you do, you can just tweak it back a little bit like this, and it will be fine. So once you have the door off like this, don't remove any of the electronics, because what we need to do is we need to get the window down to where these 2 rubber grommets are here. So remove these 2 rubber grommets and then drop the window down so you can see these 2 13mm bolts in here. Once you see these 2 bolts, these are the ones that go through the window itself. So to do this, we need to remove the bolts. Now, don't use an impact on this.
What is that? What size is that socket?
It's a 13mm socket. Do you want to hold the window?
Yep.
Once you have the 2 bolts out, you could rest the door back on its on its latch up here.
Like just hang it.
Just hang it, and then the window will come up. And the reason why we remove the front belt molding is, oh look, this one's been out once before. So you can remove the metal clips that are on the bottom. If you didn't remove the belt molding, these wouldn't have come out at the top of the door.
Oliver, what's this blue tape?
This is because this is an older Model S, a Model 3.
Yes.
So they've obviously put the tape on there to keep the clips on there. You don't need it, but whoever put it in last time obviously decided he needed it.
All right.
So now we've got no window, got no door. All we've got left are the clips, the electronics. So again, unplug the motor. And this is your emergency release for the door. This needs to come off too, because we're going to removing this. So same as the front, all these 8s all the way around. Now, when you pull this out, you'll have the whole window track will come out with this. So you're going to do this maneuver. So you have all the window mechanism on the back. If you didn't take the window out, all of this would have broken and you would have been in a world of problems. So now we've got all the doors stripped down, no window, all the electrics out, we're ready to put everything in. The rear doors only have 4 pieces, and I've got the instructions here, which are pretty handy. So we'll start off again with this top piece, D. So get your little roller out again. Okay, now let's do the one on the inside of the door, this big one here, A. And again, don't use the roller on the outside of the door because you'll end up with those lines. These are the 2 pieces. This one here, C, looks like it goes down at the bottom of the door, a little tiny piece. And this last one goes down here. So there you go. So now we've got all the 4 pieces in. We can now reassemble the door. So now we just got to put the car back together, the door panel back together. To do that, you do it, like I said, the same way as you took it apart, but just in backwards. So this was the last piece we took off, so we're going to drop this one down here. Now we're putting the window in, and if you look inside, down, you'll be able to see these 2 little brackets, which you can actually see where you can rest the window on it. Once you have the window lined up, you can see on the inside where the 2 13mm bolts are going to go through and go through the window. You can actually let go of the window because it's resting on those ledges. What you want to do is you want to get it just to the point where it starts to go hard, go solid, and then you want to close the door up, and you want to make sure that your window is in line with the rear window, because if your window is out, either way, you're going to end up hitting the rear window or the front window. And luckily enough, this one's an older one, So you can see the dirt mark from where the window's been going up and down as it is. You see the lines? So you can get the window lined up. Once you have the window in place, you can then open the door and tighten down those 2 bolts. And then we're going to connect all of these electronics back up.
Okay, Tesla fans, so as you can see, we have just completed the installation of the 4-door Dynamat door kit to reduce road noise, rattles, make your sound system sound better, and overall a much better interior cabin driving experience. Oliver's gonna go ahead and show you now how to put the door panels back on. It's pretty quick and easy. We're gonna wrap up phase 1 of this 3-part DIY kit.
Okay, so here we are. We're going to drop the front doors on. It's very simple, exactly the opposite of what we did earlier on. So, first of all, we'll put the cables in. When you put the light in itself, the window will drop down because it recognizes the door's open now. Then we'll plug all these other ones in. Now, once you got to this point where everything's back together again, loop the top of the door on first. You've got like little grooves and just loops on the top. And you can wiggle the door around a little bit and you'll find that the clips themselves will end up going back into their holes. And you can clip your tweeter mount on, and the tweeter mount has a clip on the top that goes over here. You want to make sure that slides back in. And then you've got your 3 bolts again, one under the door handle. Because you've got more Dynamat in here now, you might have to push on the door because you've got a bit of extra width for the screw to actually seat back in its hole. Drop these last 2 things on, the one under the door handle, and then the reflector. And then we'll repeat the same process in the back and then we'll be done.
Thank you for watching, Tesla fans. As you can see, we are done with the installation of the Dynamat 4-door kit on this Model 3. I assure you, the interior cabin is going to be so much more quiet, less road noise, less rattles, and your sound system is going to sound even better. Click and watch the next video. We're about to install phase 2, the rear trunk lid kit, right now.